Hey, welcome to ANVCS Tech Talk Unfiltered. This is Eric.
And hi, this is Veda.
Veda, as a reminder, you're out there in the Sacramento, greater Sacramento area.
That's correct.
And now I'm
I'm
out
out here
here
in the
on the,
fog, I tell you. It's been really foggy lately.
has it been? Really?
Oh, it's been so I was out in Palo Alto yesterday, and when I drove out in the morning, it did not clear up until I reached Dublin. And then I
Really?
had blue sky. And then once I got over into the Bay Area, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's been I mean, you look outside the window and you're like, this is why we live in California.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of January 2026. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year.
And we look outside the window, it's like 75 degrees and it's sunny and it's like, oh, it's like I said, this is why we live in California. Sacramento, it's not really part of the Bay Area. It's kind of out there and,
It's just the
capital
capital.
city. Yeah, the capital
That's
city.
right.
Anyways, hey, before we get started, let's make sure we thank our grantors and our partners. We'll start off with Sequoia Healthcare District, sorry, Dignity Health, Peninsula Healthcare District, Silicon Valley Community Fund, El Camino Healthcare District, Forum Charitable Fund, Los Altos Mountain View Community Fund, the Rotary Club of Los Altos, Health Trust, Touchpoint, Comcast, and the Kiwanis Club of Los Altos.
Also, our facility partners, Eschaton, which is, here in Carmichael, Eschaton Village, Carmichael, and then, Eschaton in general, like we have the Truesdale out there in Burlingame. Then we also have the city of Milpitas, the Veterans Memorial Senior Center there in Redwood City, Peninsula Family Services, and then the city of Los Altos there in Los Altos, California, the India Community Center, Avenidas Village, the city of Burlingame, and the V at Palo Alto.
Without them, we couldn't do what we do.
No, without all of these. And I really appreciate that, not just the people that hire us, but then all the people that give us grants and move forward, but then all the people too that continue to donate and support us.
Absolutely.
We
This was a our biggest year of individual donations and we want to thank all those as well.
Yes, and I really like how the Silicon Valley Community Foundation and their donor advised funds helped us with that too. So it worked out really well.
Yeah. I wanted to point out we mentioned the Veterans Memorial Senior Center at Redwood City or in Redwood City. We haven't talked about our kiosk in a while.
No.
And so we've been piloting a kiosk, but we've just put out this new app where you can go out there and you touch screen and you go to the touch screen and you can see, of course, tech tips and our short videos and stuff. But what's really cool is that you can type in uh, a question, any question you want, and it will give you an answer, and then it will give you a quiz to see if you retain the information. But on top of that, you can actually, if you typed it in Spanish, your question in Spanish, it will respond to you in Spanish.
Yes.
And of course, we don't have a Chinese character keyboard, but if you said, "Hey, how do I clear cookies?" and answer me in Mandarin, it will answer you in Mandarin. It is the coolest thing. And this is kind of where AI is leading us to, is to be able to build some of this stuff, uh, which we did. We built it out of AI, but it's very cool. You can email yourself the answers. Like I said, you could take online tests and quizzes in your native language. If anybody's ever in the area of the Veterans Memorial Center in Redwood City, I encourage you to stop by, check it out. They're also opening a new center, but we don't know exactly when that's going to open yet.
Right.
It's mostly done, but we haven't. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. I was part of the Avenidas kind of planning and design. Um, the thing about the Veterans Memorial Center, and you have to understand the name Veterans Memorial. Inside of it has all these kind of veterans, like World
Hmm.
War II veterans, World War One veterans, people whoever was in Redwood City at the time or lived in Redwood City who fought in any wars. They had all these nostalgic pictures up there. It's very um, good to its name. It honors our veterans. It maintains the same feel or even more nostalgic feel about what the center is meant and what it means. And so it's very, very cool.
I'm looking forward to
So
seeing it.
yeah, it's wait till you can. But anyways, it's been a long time since we've talked. It's been before the year, so like I said, Happy New Year. We're going to talk a little bit about things like SIM swapping because I think it's happening a lot more and it's a lot more common. It's a very simple fix. We're going to talk about Authenticator apps, but kind of before we get there, we've been doing a bunch of mid-year reports, and we have a lot of data. We have a lot of data, whether it's uh, you know, Wix analytics, our survey analytics, Google, Facebook, YouTube views, all of this stuff. And AI, before AI, it took a lot for us to put this stuff
It
together.
was a lot of work.
And so now we kind of just like use different AI tools for different things. And it made me start thinking about kind of like what tools should we use, but really about what our prompts should be.
Yes.
And it's really kind of interesting because, you know, and I think this is the thing that people are going to have to change their habits on. So when you do a search, like when you do a Google search, a normal Google search, or how we've been trained to do a normal Google search, you might just say something like, "Hey, when's Jason Aldean or Luke Bryan playing in the area?" Right?
Right.
4 words, 5 words, shoot, hey, and it returns. But the thing about AI prompts is the more you tell it, even as unstructured as you want to tell it, it will give you a better answer.
And this is something I actually read in, gosh, I can't remember the article, but it came out of the UK. And I really liked the way they were instructing us to write a prompt. And they said it's really too bad that in America that they kind of left behind the arts and drama and stuff like that in the education system. Because if you've ever done anything on stage, talking to an AI is a lot like the director talking to an actor. It's
Hmm.
not just telling the actor, here's the scene, act it. You also have to inform the actor what its background is, what the intention of the scene is, who else is interacting, how we want it to play out, all of these things. And the more you give it, the better the answer, right? And the same
Yep.
thing, the
Yep.
more direction we give an actor, the better the result on stage. And when you've had drama experience, it just feels normal. So I
Yeah.
really like the way that, this is harkening back the fact that we need more arts in our education system.
Well, it's a great kind of imagery to kind of tell us how to write that prompt.
Yes.
So describe the scene, describe the actions,
Right.
describe the feel,
Describe your
this
character. Who are
describe your
you?
character.
Yep.
And when I say unstructured, you can write, it doesn't have to be like, oh, there's an outline of in sequential order of doing
Hmm.
whatever. It's the more detail you can kind of spit at it and just kind of brainstorm a bunch of ideas on it, it will take that and give you a better answer.
Yes.
So, in our blog, we say things like set the scene, be specific, simplify
Yes.
your language, structure your output, share your feedback. I like to say iterate the feedback
Well, that's the
because
thing.
that's the nice thing about it because you can kind of it keeps on topic.
Yes, when you start a prompt, it will stay on topic and it will understand everything that came before. If you need it to kind of, jump track, so to say, like, okay, I've gone down this one, but I want to start back up here, you actually just have to start another prompt.
Yeah,
You have to start it from scratch. And, when you kind of get that feel, you can go, okay, you can keep all of your history of the other one, start a new one. And it's really neat how you can pop back and forth just down two different, tracks, if you will.
yeah, yeah. So I want to kind of expand on this because it is a new year. AI is changing every day. We have Copilot, which I've been using a lot more because I find it very quick,
And
and
it's
it
so
does
well
use
integrated with Windows stuff.
yeah, and it's very good for productivity. It's very good for certain things. Gemini has kind of jumped up, according to the experts, has jumped into the lead over ChatGPT. They say it's best for multi-threaded prompts and very complex prompts over other
Wow.
AI language models. And so what I've found is I can throw a gazillion things in a different outcomes to come out of it. I can say, hey, I want X, Y, and Z plus A, B, C, and it will give me a good answer.
Yes.
You said you just did a test on a couple of them, and you said you saw some bias except for Gemini. Did you want to
Correct. Like
describe that a little
so
bit?
I I recently did a tech talk on AI, and I was talking about how in writing prompts. And so I thought let's just write a prompt where we're going to ask the AI to recommend AI tools for different use cases. And all of them came back with a bias where they were basically saying they were the best AI. Oh, this use case, yeah, we recommend ourselves. For this use case, we recommend ourselves. Oh, this one, okay, we got to go another direction. But most of it was recommending itself, except Gemini. Gemini did recommend itself. I believe it was for search results, but everything else, it was actually recommending different tools. And it was
Yeah.
interesting at the strengths it was showing about why you'd want to use those tools. It was really thorough.
Yeah, I used Gemini when I said, "Hey, I want to automate our social media posts," and then it gave me like 10 different things that we should or could use with different price points. These are the ones that are free. These are the ones, and then this is how you can automate it using other tools. It's pretty, I guess objective as an AI should be.
Yes. And I understand because I've been using Claude,
Hmm.
for code and for workflow type of things. It's been really neat to watch how Gemini has basically caught up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really good at doing code and it's really good at helping me work in workflows. And I think it's a little bit better at workflow than Claude is.
Hmm. It's interesting. I shared with you an article that said Gemini is going to be the engine behind Siri in the coming
Yes.
coming year. That's huge.
What's really huge about it too, if you really look at what um, the size and the efficiency that Google has been able to do with a fully taught Gemini AI, they can distill that into something that can run on a handset, on a portable device. The device isn't going to be able to learn on the fly. For that, it'll have to go back to the cloud. But for the things that it just needs to translate and understand what the question is, it can get that locally now. It doesn't have to give up the privacy just to understand a good question or prompt.
Yeah, that's going to be the next big thing is AI on a chip.
Yes.
And hopefully we can relieve ourselves of some of the problem. I think some people want to do it and some others won't because of their business model.
Right. And Apple has been, ever since the A14 chip or whatever, and definitely for all the M series chips, they've been putting in neural engines. They actually have GPUs, they have CPUs, multi-core CPUs, multi-core GPUs, and multi-core neural engines. So it'll be interesting to see the way they deploy that.
Things are going to change very quickly. This is why they
Yes,
need, I mean, this is why they need an organization like us to help
true.
break this down into simple instructions and understand. Hey, I got a question for you because I went down the rabbit hole. Why did NVIDIA become the AI leader? Why are their chips used for AI?
So
I
AI
know the answer.
always
I went
needed to
down the
be
rabbit hole on this, so
right. So this is
being
my opinion, and it's take it as just that. I mean, I've done some semiconductor design, so but that's really old, so it's not anything current. But the thing I thought was the dividing line is the ability to do not just multi-threaded, but multi-core. And NVIDIA nailed that out of the gate.
so
Where
let's break this down. So let's talk a little bit about Intel, AMD, x86 chips, right? For
correct,
those who are non-silicon guys, 86X, x86, right? It's the whole regular, the standard that our computer CPUs were built on, and it
correct,
was multi-threaded,
correct, and
which makes it good.
multi-threaded with a CISC or complex instruction set architecture.
Yes.
Yes.
So so this is how it was explained to me, or at least Gemini explained it to me. So when you do a GPU, a graphics processing unit, okay, what they are doing is giving simple instructions to a gazillion pixels.
That's correct.
And so, but what they stumbled upon, because I don't think they did it on purpose, they just said, "Oh, this works," and then they kind of built on it. Was was when we're using AI, it's not about multi-thread and how many different processes and instruction sets you can do. It's a bunch of simple instruction sets that can work independently of each other
And
and then
simultaneously.
produce, right, and then produce the result. And so
Correct.
you get these GPUs, which are used to just giving instruction sets to single pixels. Well, now we translate that to what we call artificial intelligence, which means they're all working together on simple instruction sets to go out and get information and bring it back, or to translate information that we're giving them.
Correct.
That's
And
that's how it was. When I read that, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense because it's kind of like when I was at Intel Online Services and Google started, okay, and we had I don't know Intel Pentium 4 or whatever it was right at the
right.
time, and and Google's like, no, we don't want that. We want the older processors that use less power that just handle simple instruction
Right.
sets.
Because we're going to put a bunch of them in a rack.
Yes, and that's exactly what NVIDIA is doing with AI just on a chip.
Yes. And if you look at the evolution of their product, they started off with the GPU for graphics and gaming. But what really changed it and what really opened up their solution set, if you will, the toolbox, is when they started using those for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Because once they started doing that, it was like it was taking that same thing that and just distilling it into a very, very small process that could be run, 1,000 of these simultaneously, right? And locally. It's really cool the way they broke it up that way so that you could quickly and efficiently, calculate the things in order to do the cryptocurrency stuff. So that then led them or set them up perfectly then for AI because AI needed to do a very similar thing, but deeper with better feedback. And they were just right there. Oops, I can't hear you. Something went off there. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I put myself on mute. I think it's what's interesting is I think they stumbled upon this originally. They didn't do this
Really?
by design. Yeah, I don't think they did it by design. They just kind of stumbled on this. And so I don't know. I might be wrong, right? But I
Well,
just think they
I
kind
do
of,
think that they did stumble, but the thing that prepared them though was the cryptocurrency.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, then they
Yeah.
just had to do a very minor tweak, and it's like, wow, we're
Yep.
ready for AI.
Hey, so you see what's on my screen right now?
Yes.
So I was just playing around. Speaking of AI, okay, so this is an infographic. We'll share it on our Facebook page. But we were talking about AI. We're using Notebook LM, and we're going to talk about Notebook LM for a second here, but that keeps growing as well. But they have a bunch of new buttons out there. I said, click on create me an infographic, and this is what it created,
Are
which
you
is
kidding? It created this?
it created this, which is
Holy
we'll
smokes.
we'll share it on our Facebook page. But when we start talking about things like AI, Notebook LM in a very source constricted tool is fantastic.
Yes.
And they keep adding things. So when we first did this class, we said on Notebook LM, we said, oh, it had a podcast. You could do, flashcards. You can do other stuff. Now it's got like an audio overview, a video overview. It has a mind map where it shows all the connections to all the sources. It will even create slides, much like PowerPoint does with Copilot. So
Holy
out of this, if
smokes.
I create slide deck, it'll create a slide deck on our outcomes because that's what we're talking about right now.
Now, does it
So
use the existing prompt to create the slide deck, or does it allow
it's
it to
going to
go
use
to?
whatever we're talking about right now.
Oh, that's cool.
And so again, I know we can't share this on the podcast, but and then it's got a data table which you can create. It's just it is keeps growing in its usefulness. My wife's at school. She goes, "Oh yeah, can we use Notebook four slides? I go, I think so. And she goes, oh yeah, let me try it. And she did it. She goes, oh, I like those. So that works really well. But there's just all kinds of things you can do. So let's talk about what Notebook LM is used for. So when we talk about source constricted, instead of going out to the web, we're loading it with our sources.
Right.
And we were talking about we had our survey for the end of the year for 2025, and we had our results. And when our results were like, okay, 94% of our respondents report a unique password for most important online accounts such as banking and email and investment accounts, stuff like that, right? And so I said, okay, let's just analyze our results. Let's compare it to national averages and then give me some insights from the data that we've provided. And it spits out all this great information, sources that they're comparing to, age group that we have versus what the national standards are. And what's really interesting is that um, the national standards are people over 65, which I
Right.
think is young, right?
Right.
Especially since you're
I like
65.
to
I can
think
keep saying
so.
that. All right. So I think you're 65, but it is, in this day and age, in our business, 65 and, 65, 75 is like youngest old, and then we got the middle old, and we got the oldest old. And this is how we segment our community. And so, I said, and I looked at our results and I'm like, give us some insights. And one of the craziest things was since the national averages were 65, our median age is 77 for our
Yes.
community. Um, we had a survey question. Do you feel about the same confidence with technology as you did last year? Or do you feel more? About half of them, or 40 something percent, said, I feel about the same. And like 44%, 42% said, I feel like I've gained a lot of confidence. Right? And so, but what I took that as, oh, shoot, we're missing the mark here. But when I asked for insights from Notebook LM, it said, well, actually, no. Since your median age is 77, there's a natural degradation of retaining the technical information as well as the advancements of information technology and stuff.
Right.
Keeping pace and improving is a great thing. And I had to think about that. I'm like, you know, that's actually pretty true.
Yes.
As you and I get older, we're like things are pass us by, could pass us by. If we weren't doing this, things would be passing by.
Oh, absolutely.
And so even if we didn't take any classes and technology advanced, we'd be feeling like we're falling behind.
Yes.
But with everything changing, with a higher age bracket that we're teaching, keeping people at pace as well as advancing is actually a good thing.
And it's
So
not an easy thing. It's something where, we need the participation, but we also, need to have the curriculum and the skills and the time and all that type of stuff to make it happen.
yeah. So Notebook LM, like I said, you can keep talking to it, you keep asking it to do things. It's got audio overview, video overview. We're gonna have to do another class because there's a lot more to it than when we last did a class on this. So,
Yes.
but I think the bottom line is no matter what AI tool you use, whatever large language model you're using, because there's a lot of other AI. And when we think about the consumer AI, we're thinking about large language models, which is, Gemini, Siri to some extent, Copilot, ChatGPT. Those are all large language models. When we're talking about
Right.
other AIs, we're talking about things that do behind the scenes work. For our consumers, for our community, we're only talking right now about large language models. And so when we go back to the large language model, we should be talking about how to create the prompt. And really the prompt is, what you said, if you're the director of your question,
Right.
set the scene, set the
Who the character
tone,
is, what, yes, like all
who
that
the
stuff.
character is, who you're talking to,
Right.
more information. The more information you give your prompt, as unstructured as you want it, including typos, um, it will give you a better answer.
Yes. And the thing I really like about Notebook LM, and this came up in our AI tech talk last week, when I mentioned that we can constrain it, or it's naturally constrained to the information we give it. And people were concerned. They said, well, that means you can skew it because it can ignore other information, right? I said,
Hmm.
well, that's true. I go, but when we talk to an AI, it tries to use all the body of information that's out there, and we don't know the veracity of all that stuff. When
Right.
we use Notebook LM, we know the bibliography and we know how good the information is in our notebook. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here. And so now
Yeah.
we
So, for
want to,
example, you could get a bunch of peer-reviewed studies and feed it into Notebook LM.
exactly. And we know that these are good peer reviews with, deep bibliographies themselves. So we can put those here, and then we tell Notebook LM to answer questions based on the information we give it. This way, it can't go off and hallucinate by taking some information that's random out in the web and holding it in the same regard as the information we've already filtered with better bibliography. So it's
Yeah.
really nice that we can have that choice, but you can see how it could be used nefariously. You know, goofy marketing guys could take this and ignore the information that they don't want out there and, kind of bend things. But,
Of course.
that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a legitimate report using the best information.
So I have an exercise for you someday. You're a deeply religious person. I know
Yes.
this. You should load the Bible into Notebook LM and ask it questions.
Mm. I've been
And
doing an
then,
AI. Which one? Oh shoot! I think I've just been using Perplexity because it does different versions of the Bible. You can tell it to
right,
use.
but then you can go, then you compare the Notebook LM analysis, and you can actually tell, I mean, even though it's constrained, you can tell it to, for like example, Notebook LM, as you compare it to national averages. So it had to go outside of Notebook LM to go get those
Correct.
national averages. But you could also have it go outside, compare it to your Bible source that's in Notebook LM, and ask it about controversy. What's the controversy of the Book of David? Right.
Right.
And then it will go outside, but keep source of your version of the Bible in Notebook LM.
And
And
I
so,
love that about because I love doing oppositional research, right? In the
yep,
sense that, okay, I have a formed opinion, but it's just an opinion. So I want to see what the counter opinions are arguing
yep.
because this will, challenge my opinion or reinforce it, whatever it's going to do, right? And I love how Notebook LM can do that.
Well, you can also, I mean, it's one of those things where a lot of times Bible verses get misquoted just by use.
Oh, all the time.
And if you have the source, you could say, hey, what's the actual verse? And
Right.
and then you could say, what's the current definition or meaning, or what's the Catholic version, or what's the Presbyterian version, what's the Baptist version,
Right.
whatever,
Like
right?
one of my favorites that's often misquoted is, money is the root of all evil. Evil. That's not how it is. It's the love of money is the root of all evil,
Yeah.
right? Um, yeah. So when you look at it, it's just like, come on, folks. And it's sad because we misquote it. We really have kind of this poverty mentality right now in the U.S. That's nuts. It's like we don't recognize that it's tough to manage wealth.
Well, I go back to the was it seven deadly sins, and so the love of money is really greed,
Yes.
and pride and ego and all this other stuff. And but yes, I get it. The love of money is equal to greed, but money in and of itself is not evil.
No. And it's difficult to manage.
It is. It's yeah. Always keep it working. All right. Anything else on the AI stuff? How was your? So let me ask another question. You did a class on Friday, versus when we first did classes. Was there a change in attitude of our community towards AI? Did they have a better understanding of it? Were they afraid of it? Were
Since
they
it
excited
had been a
about it?
while since I'd done a real AI class, so no, I don't think there was any change in attitude, but I think there were better questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people were actually using it. They were using it quite a bit to help them write. Uh, they were using it more for translating when they came up upon phrases and stuff that were in foreign languages. But the questions also were much more use case. Well, if I wanted to create a drawing, what would I use?
Yep.
Um, then I also showed nobody asked the question, but I showed, how we could use the Suno app to, to create original music, like the music we created for the podcast here.
Yep.
It's really slick that you just have those tools.
You know, speaking of our outcomes, this is one of the outcomes that it's very difficult for us to measure. Do you remember when we first started giving classes and the type of questions that we would get? They were they didn't know what question to ask.
Correct.
One of one of the reasons why we know that our community is getting it is because of the questions they ask.
Absolutely. And I love the group dynamic, having both live people and Zoom people in the same thing because they bounce off each other. And
Yes.
if somebody asks a question, and this is why I say there's no such thing as a stupid question, because there's somebody else that's been thinking along the same line, but hasn't asked it either. And you really don't know
Yeah.
how to ask it. And then somebody says one thing, and then somebody asks it a different way until finally, two or three questions in, we're finally at the source of it. We're at the root of it, right? Which I really
Yep.
enjoy.
Well, it's part of the learning.
Yes.
It's in
And we learn together.
the questions help with the learning. But I mean, I just remember when we first started doing these classes, people are like, well, how do I turn my phone on versus,
Right.
how do I get Siri to recognize what plant that is in the lens of my iPhone?
Yes.
Those are much different questions, meaning people are using their technology, people are trying new things with their technology, people are actually, like I said, exploring different areas of their technology. So
Yeah, and we've always
yeah,
said
just
we like to move our clients, our students from fear to wonder.
yep,
And we
yep,
could
yep,
really see that movement.
yes. All right, let's change subjects here. So there is a growing trend. So remember the story I told about, I can't remember what name we used, but I had a client, 95-year-old client,
Yes.
had a triplex, went up and down, his stairs every day, was in good shape, and he got his phone SIM swapped,
Correct.
which led to a whole bunch of things. And so a whole bunch of things that go bad was he was able to, so a SIM swap. Some bad guy calls a phone company. They have your social security, your address, your email address, and whatever other vital information. They say, "Hey, dear, internet or cell phone provider, I got a new phone and I need to transfer my number 4650 555 1212 to this new device." And they go, "Okay, well, what's the last four of your social? Okay, here. What's their address? Okay, here it is. Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. We will transfer your phone to your phone number to your new phone." Bad guy says, "Great." Bad guy gets access to everything that is on your in the cloud on your
Yep.
phone. So that means, your it's Android or iPhone, they get access to, your texts potentially. Can reset. They have your email address because our email addresses are all over the place. They can log in, reset your email. Then between your email and your phone, you can start creating havoc and go into all these sites and saying forget password, get your one-time passcode onto the cell phone, which is now in the hands of the bad guy, reset
They
it,
can change the password. Yep.
change the password, get you know get access to bank accounts, open up bank accounts, especially since they have your social security number and you got your cell phone and all this other stuff. And so it creates absolute havoc. It is one of the more difficult things, for me to go fix for somebody. And the reason why it takes a while for me to fix it is because I have to call first I have to call that phone company,
Yes.
and it takes like 30 minutes just to get
To
through the
talk to a
first
live
prompts.
person.
Yeah. And then they transfer you to, hey, you get to customer service or whatever. Then they send you to fraud. And then so, in one instance, it literally took me 3 days to get the right person to handle the issue. And I had to basically yell at them saying, hey, look, this is a 95-year-old guy. This is his only mode of communication, and they've stolen his number. It took 3 days for them to kind of transfer it back. Well, what happened in those 3 days was 31 accounts were opened, credit
Wow.
union accounts, loan accounts, Best Buy account. Right? I mean, just everything and anything they can open up with a cell phone and an email address because of course again they changed the password and now they have access to your email. And once we got his phone back, basically we had to go one by one, contact each one of the accounts that were opened. Question is, how did we know? Because once we got back control of his email, all these email messages saying, "Hey, you've opened a new
You've
account."
opened these
Then we had
accounts.
to go to his Experian and Equifax and TransUnion account and look at all the soft inquiries and the hard inquiries,
Yep.
and then contact those guys. And so it's very, very difficult. The initial 31 online accounts were created in the first hour of
What?
stealing
In
the
1 hour,
phone
31
in one
accounts.
hour. Yes.
They're organized.
Well, I could tell you I went and found them, but that's a different story.
Okay.
And so, it made us think. It's like, okay, so this is really easy to avoid or prevent. And the real easy thing is all you have to do is call your phone provider. And the easiest way to get a hold of somebody in your phone provider is open up your cell phone, dial 611, and it takes you to whoever it may be, AT&T, Consumer Cellular, Verizon,
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
Yeah.
611 gets you to your customer service and you tell them, "Hey, I need to have extra security on my account. I'd like to put a verbal password onto my account so that nobody can get into my account unless they have that verbal password." And it sounds really stupid and really like rudimentary, which it really is.
You would think it would be standard.
Well, I mean, nobody wants to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, nobody wants to talk to anybody. Kids, don't, millennials and below, they don't pick up the phone.
No.
Okay. And so, and then the people on the other end, there's only so many of them. They don't want to talk to anybody. They're talking to people all day long. I don't know about you. I'd rather text somebody or order my food online than having to talk to somebody.
Right, but when I get a phone service and I set up a PIN for my phone service, right? Because it's not just the PIN to get into my phone, it's the one for my service to verify it's me. That should
Well,
also
they should,
lock
just to
my
be
SIM.
clear, those should be different.
Yes, they are
They
different.
should be different,
Right.
but it should be something you remember. So let's keep walking through this. So you call them up, you dial 611. Hey, I want extra security on my account. I want to set up a verbal password so that in case if anybody tries to make changes to my account, if somebody tries to change the phone number to another device, whatever the case may be, can't do it unless they have that verbal password.
That's correct.
And that verbal password could be anything you want it to be. It could be a set of numbers, it could be a phrase. We suggest that it should be an original phrase that you don't use somewhere else.
Yep.
My purple dog named Coco. I don't know, something like that. But it's something you should remember, and you should make sure you document that and put it in some safe place. I people always ask about passwords. I say I have no problem with people writing it down and putting it in a non-obvious place. You know, put in a bunch of files because if somebody breaks into your house, they're probably going to take your jewelry and your laptop and some other things,
Right.
but they're not going to take a file cabinet full of paper.
Nope.
So, but make sure that you have that. So, and honestly, we don't change our phone plans very often. Most of us don't. But and you might call them and have to make a change or add a line or whatever the case may be, and you forget what that personal verbal pin is, but at least you can go look it up on a piece of paper somewhere if you remember where that piece of paper is. You know, I forget that I had one. I have a business account rep with T-Mobile, and she's great, but whenever she wants to make changes, she has to ask me what my verbal password is. I'm like, give me a hint.
Yeah, right. Give me one of the hands.
I kind of know what it is, but
Right.
and they will give you a hint. They might say, it might be I think it was AT&T that said, it's a pet or something like that. I'm like, oh
Right.
yeah, okay, I got it. But by simply putting a verbal password onto the account, nobody can change your phone number to another device. They can't make changes to your account. They can't, change the credit card. They can't do anything.
Right.
And that simple little verbal pin is helpful to prevent those. It's probably not perfect, but it's hackers and bad guys go to the easiest mark.
That's correct. Any friction they find, it's like next.
No, just like having a dog in the yard, no matter how big or small the dog is. And somebody's barking, it's like we're gonna avoid that house.
It's
All right,
true.
so let's so and this has happened a couple of times in the last couple of weeks to
Right.
clients.
And
And
I think
so
you made a video that you posted on Facebook, didn't you?
I did. I
Okay.
did. Follow us on
So it's,
Facebook as well.
yeah, so it's on our Facebook channel.
All right. I want to talk about one other subject before we finish up tonight. So in case that does happen, in case somebody does take your phone, and gets the SIM swapped to something else, most of our accounts have two-factor authentication. At least we recommend everybody with a um everybody that has in critical accounts to use two-factor authentication, which is, they text you that code.
Correct.
So we did a class on Authenticator apps, and I'm gonna hand this topic off to you here in a second. But the reason why and you're gonna tell everybody what Authenticator apps are, but the reason why Authenticator apps are great and creates a higher level of security, because in that use case where somebody steals your number, transfer it to another phone, the authenticator numbers, codes, one-time passwords remain on your phone that's in your physical hand. So just because they steal the number doesn't mean they have access to your authenticator apps
Right. And
for the most part.
it's true. And because it's the Authenticator app is typically in the same or can be in the same place where you store your passwords. So, for example, if you use Apple Passwords, they have an Authenticator app thing, a one-time password section in there. One Password has that. LastPass has that.
Bitwarden
Uh,
has it.
Bitwarden has it. So it can be built in. Also, you can use third-party ones like Microsoft has an Authenticator app. Google has an Authenticator app, which is just the Authenticator. Now, what the Authenticator app is do you remember those little key fobs that we used to have to carry around that would come up with 6 digits and it changed every minute? You remember those when we had to like log into our work emails or our work computer systems?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was like, 20, 30 years ago we had to carry those around. Well, the Authenticator app is basically that exact same system, but now it's writ large in the sense that everybody can have it. All you need is an app. You don't need a little fob or anything like that. And it works on, the private public key pair thing, and it works with the pseudo random number generation algorithm that was in these little key things. So as long as you've got the authenticator set up for a service, let's say your Gmail, right? So you're going to go two-factor authentication, and you say one of the factors I'd like to use for the second factor is my authenticator app. And it comes up with a QR code. You take a picture of it, that sets it up in your password manager on your phone, and now you have an authenticator app available to do it. And it works really well. When I use it for, say, PayPal, I'm doing an online purchase. I use PayPal. As soon as I give it my biometrics, it fills in my username, it fills in my password, goes to the next screen, fills in my authenticator code. I'm in. I don't do anything else.
And it remains on your phone, just like your biometrics do.
Exactly. It does not follow anywhere. And if somebody they scammed my phone or whatever like that, did a SIM swap, they would not be able to get into my authenticator app.
So this is where I think the weakness of Android shows in Google, because if you use an Android phone, you use, and we'll kind of go a second step here. You use your Gmail with the Android phone. You have to set up your Gmail account, right, with your Android phone.
Yes.
If you use a Google Authenticator, the authenticator gets actually backed up to your Google Drive. So if somebody gets access to your phone and your email
Oh
password,
no, then they can get it that way.
they can get that way. However, they would. it would prevent them from getting into your Gmail, I think, because you have the Authenticator app. Okay, so in other words, they have to get into your Gmail forget password. The forget password will first go to your Authenticator app, which is in your possession,
Right.
and they won't be able to get into it.
That's correct.
So it's only if they were able to actually steal your email address
Right. And get into
and
your cloud.
password and
Right.
get into it. So again, it's one of those things where every kind of roadblock we put, speed bump we put in the way of that bad guy,
Right.
the safer we are. So, anyways, yeah, I kind of think that Authenticator, I use an Authenticator app for my most important accounts.
Right.
And the other reason why is because I don't want to wait for a text because sometimes they're slow. Sometimes they'll, hey, do you want to sign in with, a code and they send it to your email and depending on which email you have and what kind of
Could take
internet
forever.
connectivity you have, it could take forever. Like, when you create you get one from our website, you create a new account from our
Right.
website, sometimes it takes a long time.
Sometimes it takes like 3 minutes. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And I'm sitting there with somebody, I'm like, okay, we're any day now. But
Right.
I mean, that's typical of a lot of websites.
Yes.
So I like the Authenticator app. We
And
should
I
probably do
think
another
that
class on that. But we also have, I think we have a video on that somewhere on our
we
YouTube
do,
channel or something like
and
that.
we walk through it on a couple of our tech talks. One of
Yeah,
the things
and we
I
also have
like
one on our
that's
tech. We have a tech tip on it as well with the class video on it on
yes, we
at our
do.
website at anvcs.org. Um, so, anyways, yeah, this SIM swapping thing is hugely disruptive. It is, I mean, it's crazy how much we keep on our phones and how much access our phones create to our digital life. And if you
Right.
lose your phone, if somebody steals your phone, if somebody does a SIM swap on your phone, they are able to unlock it. Our whole digital life is exposed.
Yeah,
And
because as
so,
soon as somebody can get into our other resources with two-factor authentication and sending the codes to our phone, yeah,
yeah.
that's trouble.
And that's why I'm like, use Authenticator app and maybe even use Authenticator app with a different Gmail address that's
Right.
different from your Android phone.
Yep.
And I mean, just whatever. It's just one of those things. Like I said, the more roadblocks we can put up, the better. But I do like. I mean, authenticator apps have gotten better. They're fast. Each code only lasts for 30 seconds, and it's by the time somebody tries to crack into it, if it's in our possession, and the bad guy has their phone number somewhere else, it causes problems. It's going to put a roadblock in front of them, and they'll give up after a while.
They'll give up very quickly.
All right. Anything else you want to chat about tonight?
No, that should do it. Oh, the one thing on Authenticator apps is if you combine your biometrics and the Authenticator app, you basically have a pass key.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what a pass key is. I don't really want to go into pass keys right now, and I don't think they're ready for prime time yet, but they're getting there.
No. They're Passkeys, since there's a lack of standardization, it's
Yep,
very problematic for people who have multiple devices
yep.
because you don't know where that passkey exists sometimes. You
It's
can,
so frustrating.
and it's like, oh, it's on my phone. Well, I don't have my phone. Oh, it's on my iPad. Oh, wait, my iPad's in the other room. Oh, wait, it didn't come through. The notification didn't come through.
Right.
Where is it? And so it's like, use your email, password, password manager, authenticator app, all happens pretty seamlessly.
You're right, but passkeys isn't seamless, and I really get frustrated with like Google stuff. Whenever I log into Google with a passkey, I have to log in twice. It's
Yes,
ridiculous.
yes. I don't know why that is though.
I don't either.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. Everybody's becoming a little more um, security conscious, and it's causing some inconveniences. Okay, so before we wrap up again, let's make sure we thank our donors, grantors, and our partners. Why don't you do our grantors this time, and I'll do our partners.
Okay. Okay. We, of course, want to thank Peninsula Healthcare District, the Dignity Health Sequoia Hospital, Sequoia Healthcare District, the Los Altos Mountain View Community Foundation, the Kiwanis Club of Los Altos, Comcast, who's been very helpful, even with our kiosk
Holiday
project
parties. Yeah.
and holiday parties. Absolutely. Forum Charitable Fund, the Touchpoint Foundation, Health Trust, El Camino Healthcare District, the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, and its DAF funds, and Rotary Club of Los Altos.
You hit Los Altos Mountain View Community Fund. Did you say that? If not, they
Yes,
can
I
get a
did.
double shout out.
Yeah,
All
I,
right.
I, I got him on the way right after the Sequoia Healthcare District.
Okay. And of course, our partners who not only give us access to the community, but give us a place to do our classes. Eschaton and Carmichael, one of the poshiest posh places up there. It's super nice.
It's beautiful.
Milpitas, Veterans Memorial Center, Senior Center in Redwood City, Peninsula Family Services, the Truesdale in Burlingame, the V, which is one of my favorite places because everybody there is really nice. City of Burlingame, Evanston Village, City of Los Altos, Indian Community Center. I know we're missing some other people, but we do classes all over the place. And the unique thing about what we do is whether we're in person, all our classes are always in Zoom. By the time we get our next podcast, we'll have a big announcement about our membership. Um,
Yes.
right now all our classes are free and we have a premium membership to watch all our videos. In the future, we're going to make changes to that, so you got to tune in next time. But let's just sign us off. So this is Eric,
And this is Veda.
and so we are getting out of here. We will try to get more podcasts on a regular basis. We just been taking the holiday off,
Yeah, the holiday
and
really got in the middle of everything.
yeah, and so we'll do this at a more regular basis. Not only are they fun, they're just kind of keeps us on our toes and make sure that we can spread the information in a different form. Anyway, signing off for tonight. Again, this is Eric from New Vista
And
Community Services,
this is Veda. Thank you
and
much.
visit us at www. A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, V as in Victor, C as in Charles, S as in Sam.org, ANVCS.org. Follow us on Facebook. You can catch our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also check out our YouTube channel. We've got information everywhere. All right. Have a good night, Veda.
You too. Cheers.